I didn't realize I had been living at only a fraction of my life, until the day my son looked at me and said, "Abba, is this really all you wanted to become?" The question didn't come with anger. That's what made it worse. His voice was calm, almost gentle, like he was asking about the weather. But something in my chest tightened, like a door I had kept locked for years had suddenly been pushed open. Before that moment, my life had a rhythm to it. Predictable. Safe. I woke up every morning at 7. The same cracked alarm clock buzzing beside my bed. I would sit up slowly, rub my face, and listen to the quiet hum of the ceiling fan. My wife would already be in the kitchen, tea boiling, the faint smell of cardamom drifting through the hallway. We weren't unhappy. That's the strange part. Our home was modest but warm. My son, Bilal, had just started his first job. My daughter called every weekend, her laughter still sounding like it did when she was a child. Evenings were simple: news on the TV, dinner on the floor, small conversations about prices, relatives, and the passing days. I told myself this was enough. I told myself I was grateful. But looking back now, I think I was just comfortable being unquestioned. Because somewhere along the way, I had stopped asking myself difficult things. I stopped wondering if I could do more, become more. And maybe that's why Bilal's question felt less like curiosity, and more like a mirror I had been avoiding my whole life. That night I couldn't sleep. The ticking of the clock sounded louder than usual, and for the first time in years, I felt restless inside my own life. The next morning, nothing looked different, but everything felt heavier. I sat at the breakfast mat, holding my cup of tea longer than usual. It had already gone lukewarm, but I didn't notice. My wife glanced at me once, then twice. She didn't ask anything. After so many years of marriage, she had learned the difference between silence that needed comfort and silence that needed time. Bilal walked in, adjusting his watch, his shirt neatly pressed. He looked like a younger version of me, but sharper, more certain. As he picked up his bag, he paused for a second, like he wanted to say something. Then he didn't. That unfinished moment lingered long after he left. All day, his question followed me. At the shop, I made mistakes I hadn't made in years. I gave the wrong change. I forgot an order. Even the familiar voices of customers sounded distant, like I was hearing them from underwater. Is this really all you wanted to become? I tried to answer it honestly, and that's when the discomfort began. Because the truth wasn't simple. When I was younger, I had dreams I never spoke about. I wanted to study further. I wanted to open something bigger than this small shop. I wanted to travel, even if just once, beyond the borders of this city. But life happened the way it often does. Responsibilities came quietly at first, then all at once. My father got sick. Money became tight. I got married. Children came. And somewhere between duty and survival, my dreams didn't disappear. They just became optional. And over time, optional turned into unnecessary. A few days later, I found myself searching through an old wooden drawer in the bedroom, the one we rarely opened anymore. Inside were papers, faded receipts, and things we once thought were important. And then, I found it. A thin, slightly folded notebook. My handwriting stared back at me the moment I opened it, neater, more confident, like it belonged to a version of me I barely recognized. Page after page, I had written plans, ideas, small business sketches, lists of things I wanted to learn, places I wanted to see. I even found a sentence I had underlined twice. I don't want to live a life that feels unfinished. I sat there for a long time, just staring at those words. My wife walked in quietly and stood by the door. "What are you looking at?" she asked. I hesitated before handing her the notebook. She flipped through a few pages, her expression softening. "You used to talk about these things," she said gently. "A lot, actually." "Used to," I replied. She sat beside me. "Life became busy," she said. "We didn't notice when you stopped." That sentence settled deep inside me. It wasn't one big mistake. It was something quieter, more dangerous. I hadn't lost my potential in one moment. I had slowly traded it away, piece by piece, for comfort, routine, and the illusion that there would always be time later. That night I felt regret. The kind that sits with you in silence, asking one question: what if you had tried? A week later, Bilal came home early and placed a file on the table. "I got an offer," he said. "In Lahore. Bigger company. Better pay, better growth." Pride rose inside me. But then he added, "I'm not sure I want to take it." "Why not?" I asked. He looked at me carefully. "Because I don't want to end up stuck. Doing the same thing every day. Living the same life for years, without growing." His words landed hard. "I see it around me all the time," he continued. "People who once had plans, but now they just manage life. They don't build it anymore." There was no accusation in his tone. That made it worse. Later that evening, I opened the file. Inside was something unexpected. A printed business plan. My business plan. The same ideas I had written in that old notebook years ago. "Where did you get this?" I asked. Bilal smiled faintly. "I rewrote it, from your notebook." In that moment, the truth stood in front of me. I hadn't just given up on my potential. I had unknowingly taught my son how to fear his own. That night, I sat alone and read every page. The ideas still made sense. It wasn't a dream of escaping life. It was a plan to improve it. For the first time in years, I asked myself a new question: what if I still could? The next morning, I woke before the alarm. I made my own tea, and instead of sitting down, I started writing. I began small. I reorganized the shop, cleared old stock, learned what sold and what didn't. I started asking customers questions, understanding patterns. Bilal noticed. One evening, he stood at the shop door and said, "You're doing it." "Doing what?" I asked. "Trying," he replied. A week later, he told me he had accepted the Lahore job. This time, I felt proud. The day he left, he hugged me tightly and said, "Abba, it's not too late for you either." Months passed. The shop changed steadily. I expanded shelves, found better suppliers, made decisions I used to delay. Slowly, the life that once felt fixed began to move again. One evening, my wife placed tea in front of me and smiled. "You seem lighter these days," I replied. "Maybe I'm finally carrying what belongs to me." Later, Bilal called from Lahore. His voice carried confidence shaped by effort, not comfort. That night, I realized something. I hadn't wasted 82% of my potential because I failed. I wasted it because I stopped believing it could still grow. And that belief was the real loss. Not time, not money, but possibility. I used to think 40 meant life was set in stone. I was wrong. I was simply unfinished. So let me ask you honestly, if you looked at your life today, would you say you are building it, or just managing it?